most businesses, I work with a lot of different companies and a lot of different owners of small businesses. And most companies, most business owners, when they start a business, they're thinking, hey, I would really like to start a business. Whether it be running a restaurant, whether it be a retail store, I've got some product or something like that. I want to run a business. And what they tend to do is they tend to get trapped in focusing on the business. I need to run a business, okay? No problem. So what I need to do to run a business, well, I need some product, gonna need some staff, gonna need a location, and obviously I'm gonna need some customers. Other stuff, but these are just a few things, and they get focused on I need to run a business. So what they do is they decide what their product's going to be, and they start working with vendors, and they get all that stuff going, and they're getting the, make sure they're having the good product and make sure it's high quality, because a bad quality product, you're not going very far with that. And then of course they say, okay, well, I've got to have so many staff, all right, whether it's 5, 10, 15, or 40 different staff. I've got to get staff in place because I need them to fill some different spots. I've got my manager, and then they're going to have their people, that whole thing. Eventually I'm going to have so many people there. And same thing, finally find the location, buy the location, set, got the building going. But they get focused on all of these customers. All right, customers, man, I hope they come. I hope they come. A lot of times this is where business owners, hello, how are you doing? A lot of times business owners are pretty, don't really know how to go about doing this piece. They open up their business, they get the product, they get the staff, they get the location, and they hope that the customers come. The classic movie where they're just sitting there the first day and they're going, here we go.
If you filmed it, they won't.
Exactly, waiting for people to come in the door. And I think in our minds a lot of times as new business owners, we picture people waiting at the door. They're ready for the grand opening, and here they come, it's like some Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving or something like that, they come rolling in. So what they do is they hire a whole bunch of staff, and they just hope that they do a good job. In their minds, they have this picture of what their staff is going to be like, but they don't really tell them that, and they don't really know how to tell them that. They just know I've got certain positions that I need to fill, and so get those people in place, ready and go, everything's supposed to go well. Then all of a sudden, we open up the doors, customers may or may not be coming, staff may or may not be working out. I know I've got a great product because I did a lot of research. And we're focusing on the product, which is good. We want a quality product. But unfortunately, we don't understand what all it's going to take with our staff and how to please the customer. Does that make sense? So, one way to go about this is become very task-oriented. You're very task-oriented when all of a sudden you're going, holy cow, there's just way too much to do here. And I'm overwhelmed. Anybody been there before? When you're just going, yeah, my to-do list is 5 pages long. And I can't keep up with this thing. So you've kind of fallen into a little bit of this trap when all of a sudden it's like, oh no. And that's all I can think of is the task. That's all that I can look at. So I got to get the task done. Hey, what do you think about doing this? Don't have time. Got to get the thing happening. Your husband's going, aren't we married? Yeah, we'll talk later. Got to get the thing done. I'm working part-time. I'm getting paid part-time, but I'm working like double time over here. Does that make sense? So this is something that we can easily fall into if we're not careful. Another thing that happens a lot with folks is this happens a lot with nonprofits, maybe even in ministry and stuff like that, is they become so people-focused. They always want to serve the people. Again, there's nothing wrong with this. It has its limitations. There's nothing wrong with this, but it has its limitations. And so we get focused on the people. So we're thinking about their emotional health, their mental health. How are my people doing? How are my people doing? And if we're not careful, mental health, we may even get into some physical and some spiritual. Our focus is just primarily on the folks. And if we're not careful, we will sacrifice the product for the people. Does that make sense? Yeah, our product, the program that we have is kind of going downhill. The location really doesn't look great, you know. But I tell you, we are focusing on the staff and they're all happy. It's all one big happy family. We do things together and everybody loves one another and everybody feels great about where they are. Does that make sense? Anybody been there before? You know? And if we're not careful, also, we can just go back and forth and back. Got to get the test in. Oh, got to take care of the people. Oh no, got to take care of the text. And we just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And before long, we go back and forth, but never forward in this. Does this make sense? And maybe Candice finds out, Candice gets into her zone. She figures out how she can do it. What works for Candice. Okay? So it's going good. Program's going good. People are feeling good. Everything's happening. But then all of a sudden, Candice has to leave. Or Candice has to move. Candice has to go to another place. And then all of a sudden, Candice leaves.
Get behind you, Susan.
Yeah. And Mary Beth over there is going, she did it so well. We just let her do it. Does that make sense? We just kind of let her do it. We didn't really know any rhyme or reason. We just kind of let her do it. And as a result, now that she's gone, it's almost like we're starting back at square one. You know, and then you get a whole lot, well, wasn't like this when Candice was here. You know, wasn't like this when Glenn was here. Oh, you're going to do that. Does that make sense? So, again, to keep ourselves from falling into either one of these traps, what we want to do is develop a culture. Culture is going to include a great product with good staff in a good location that has a lot of customers. But also culture is going to focus on people, making sure that people are taken care of. This is what industry leaders do. They develop a culture. So a guy like me comes to a company or comes to a ministry or comes to you guys and says, hey, let's talk a little bit about culture. It's very common for me to find that we've either been focusing here or we've been focusing here. And over here, I guess, this is kind of a telltale sign if I'm focused too much on people. There's just a lot of drama in my department. There's a lot of drama in my business. There's a lot of drama in my day. This is where we have this whole idea of the circle of cultural development and why we're talking so much about this. Is that we want to begin to focus on our culture, and everything that we do is going to go through that filter. When we develop a new program, when we develop a curriculum, when we develop new things for our volunteers, when we develop decorations and paint and programs and all this kind of stuff, it all goes through the filter of our culture.